Stockport County live, up and on the road. My name is Chris Ridgway, and I'm delighted as ever, host of the joint now, Matty Mainwaring. Matt, good evening, mate. How are you doing?
Good evening, mate. How are we?
Good. I was telling you off air, I'm down in London. I might as well live down here these days. But I've been sporting the gear. They sent me a hamper full of gear.
The gear, mate. Everywhere we go.
The club look after us, They sent me a hamper full of gear at the start of the season, and it's getting well warm.
Yeah, no, quality stuff, mate.
Yeah, what have you been on with?
Usual, pal. Usual work. A good result considering the FA Cup game. A little bit hoarse. You'll have to excuse me, mate. I had a really hard run the other day up some hills. Took my lungs to the absolute limit, and these are the after effects. So I'm just getting my voice back.
You don't want to be doing none of that nonsense.
Oh, you're not wrong, mate. You're not wrong. Yeah, so tough running, bad conditions, and I think it's just maybe a little bit hoarse. I woke up this morning with next to no voice, so just had to claw it back for the rest of the day. But yeah, nothing out of the ordinary, mate. Work and the like. Well,
you touched on it there. Let's just jump straight in, mate, because what a day last Sunday. Yeah. I've put in my programme notes for next week. The words that Dave Challoner said. I was fortunate enough to have a quick interview with Dave last week, and he said a line to me that I thought it really stuck with me. Because I was saying to him, I said to him, "Can you envision what it's going to be like? Your first game, walking out. All right, it's an away game, but it's going to feel like a home game. We're taking over 5,000 fans, etc., etc." And and he said, and he touched on the fact that you guys said, we need to make County hard to beat. And he said, look, we're going to try, we're going to go out, we're going to try our hardest, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then he said, and he ended with this line where he said, we're going to go out there, we're going to try and win. And if we can't do that, we're going to do the next best thing. We're not going to lose.
Yeah.
And that line, we're not going to lose. It's like that mentality was instilled in the players. Do you know what I mean? Because we go 1-0 up, right? And we've almost provoked a response there. Do Bolton have come back and hit us for a couple of goals. Now, a lot of teams in that position, you think, I bet you've probably got stories of it where you've gone 1-0 up, you've got all excited, your adrenaline's going, we could win it, and then all of a sudden that balloon's popped, that rug's pulled out, the momentum taken away from you, however you want to word it, and the other team's just come back and smash you for 2. You could easily crumble in that position. Do you know what I mean? You could fall to pieces. Yeah. You've had your moment. Your head's gone, and now the team that should win are going to go and stick to the script. And you can get a pat on the back because at one point you were winning. But that attitude of don't lose. It's like it just propelled the team on. We get the equaliser, and I think it was nothing short of heroic, that performance. And then you think about it as well, fans and stuff. That's a perfect. All right, it's not perfect. We didn't get the win, but you know what I'm saying. It's a hell of a day.
Yeah, of course. And to be honest, mate, you've stole my my podcast.
Sorry.
You stole my podcast talking point because I was going to say the exact same thing. We displayed a lot of character, and we had to because it's a one-off, the FA Cup. So we had to. We went a goal up, 2 goals. They banged 2 back, and we answered back again. Now, like you say there, you touched on it. The bigger club, not the big club, but the club 2 divisions higher, should really then go on to potentially win 3-1, 4-1. We talk about momentum and mood and confidence in football. It's a mind game. That normally settles people. As soon as they get the equaliser, their fans, no doubt, would have expected, okay, we're going to bang another in. They did. And from that point on, it should really be a good night. Wasn't the case. We bounced back. We fought back. In terms of being hard to beat, it's a thing I'm massive on. If I was to ever coach or go into management or anything like that, I think I'd set up the same way. And that's not negative. That's just, it's your fundamentals. If you don't concede or you minimise what you do concede, you're halfway there and then build on that. So, not that we've not done that in previous years, because we really have, but I think in order to be a promotion winning side or even a title winning side, that's got to be instilled. And I think we saw evidence of it. I think we also saw the fact that we can mix it with bigger clubs. clubs at a higher level, clubs who are doing very well at a higher level. And again, we touch on it all the time. Just look at the back stand. It was totally full. It was absolutely fantastic, like a Premier League game. That's what it looked like. It was brilliant, you know. And I think everybody will be grateful that we did draw a big club in this area, because it makes it so much more accessible for those who may or may not have considered going. They can go now. So I think it was evident on the day. The pitch was perfect. A real game of football. You know, it wasn't a slugfest. It was a real game of football. Wicked fans surrounding everybody. And, you know, I think a draw, like you say, not absolutely perfect, but we can drag them back to Edgeley Park now, can't we? And take them out.
Now, here's the thing, right? What a lot of pundits and a lot of professionals within the game will say, and I can see where they're coming from, that if a cup game where one team is of higher opposition, one team is of higher standing, if a game is over 2 legs, either initially set out as 2 legs, or in the scenario that we have here, where there's a replay after a draw, the higher up team should go through. Statistically, the higher up team, because they've got 2 stabs at it, yeah? In a one-off 90-minute game, yeah, sure, anything can happen. But over 2 legs or over 2 games, the bigger team or the higher up team should be going through. I don't get the impression that's going to happen. Listen, I know that's tempting fate and whatever else. I genuinely feel that County now that it's been visualised, now that we know who's in the next round of the Cup, now it's at home, you can forget your 5,000. Let's start talking 7,000 or 8,000. Do you know what I mean? Even on a Wednesday night, and even when it's on telly as well, there's going to be 8,000 people in that stadium. I don't think, if you speak to many Bolton fans, I don't think they'll be saying, "Oh, listen, you got lucky with a draw. We're going to come back and, you know." I think you ask most of them, they'll say, "I fancy Stockport here," because with the new manager bounce, and it's not just a new manager bounce; it's a new manager that knows his onions. With the squad that we've got, it's obviously this squad is this squad is too good for this level above. You know, for this level and above. I just don't think they've been playing as well, to their extent of their abilities this season. But with this squad, this manager, and an absolutely raucous crowd who just had a sip of the whiskey at the Reebok last week, how could you not lump on County?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that will be the interesting thing. What way the bookie's going to see things. Bring them back to Edgeley Park with the fan base we've got, the noise levels we can create, and the momentum we can create. They've got problems now. I think if you ask any Bolton supporter or any Bolton staff member or player, they could do without this replay for more than one reason. They're having a tough enough time in the league as it is. Every team's going to want to beat them because they're an ex-Premier League side. They're a well-established Championship side, and they're a good side. So every team's going to want to beat. They could do without a well up for it, well-organised, strong Stockport County side, taking them to Edgeley Park and potentially knocking them out the FA Cup. So with that in mind, I think everyone's a winner at this stage. There's more money to be made from a replay. We can have a great night at our home ground, and we can. Some of them players may or may not play in a game that big again. So, you know, it's all made for us. I think we have proved we can compete with the bigger sides, but don't forget, we are at the very least on paper, a top level National League side. We should be top of that pile. We are a Football League side. Now they could argue they're underachieving, but barring a little bit of capacity, there's not much difference between the two. So no reason why we can't, you know, go for a convincing win at home. Absolutely no reason. The lads will be up for it. The players will be up for it. They'll be up for making a name for themselves, especially the ones who haven't played in the FA Cup before. And of course, the new gaffer, he's got everything to gain in this fixture, nothing to lose, like you've just said. You know, underdogs. Let's see how it pans out. But getting back to the home game. So I mean, it's taken real quality, I think, for them to draw the equaliser. If you've seen the game, seen the goals, the quality of the equaliser was superb on Bolton's front. Can't really do too much about that. A wicked pass that split the centre half and the fullback. A first time ball across the box and a great finish. Can't grumble. Second goal, keeper will know better than anybody. He should have done better. He could either catch that or at least parry it wide. He parries it back out to the forward and they bang the replay in that the rebounding. Sorry, that's another thing altogether. When we bounced back, we proved that we were still on the front foot, opposed to rolling over and making it damage limitation. We've shown our own qualities. So yeah, we've proved that we're in that mix and we've nothing to lose. And I think, without getting one eye on the next round, I think, going to this real confidence, we can overturn them.
The intricacy of County's goals, that little dink, dink, dink passing through, it made me think about what you were saying last week when we were talking about the new manager coming in and what causes the new manager bounce. And you were saying players might put in an extra 5%, 10% maybe. And listen, they've been putting in an extra 5 or 10% anyway, given the occasion and given the grandeur of the fixture. Did you see that extra 5 and 10% in the players, given that they had this mindset of don't lose, given that it's the new manager, given that it's the big, like you say, opportunity for the FA Cup of Bolton, and you see little passages of play, little plays from the training ground of 1 touch, 2 touch, straight through, cutting open a defence of a much higher standard than you're used to playing at, which is key, by the way. Even if you're a good player, if you're used to playing at one level and then for 1 week you have to play at a much higher level, you have to raise your game in that match.
Yeah.
Did you see the 5 and 10% that you were speaking about?
Yeah, of course. The very fact that we were on the attack at 2-1 down. Now, let's not forget it's the FA Cup. It's all or nothing. You lose, you're out. So the lads will have dug in from somewhere anyway. But I think the extra 5, 10%, I think the lads are playing for positions. The gaffer will not have nailed down his starting 11 yet. He'll have an idea of who that might be, along with a couple that could potentially challenge for places in that starting 11. But lads are still playing for positions. So yeah, absolutely. We've seen that. I think breaking down the equalising goal, it was bang, bang, one and 2 touch, intricate play, bit of strength on the edge of the box to hold it up, lay it off. But the little check onside was brilliant. I think they started to step up the Bolton back four, and it could have potentially been an offside. And it just cute enough to check onside and make sure that he stayed up to date with the play, and ultimately that led to the goal. So I think we are seeing it, but again, that's quality. That's the quality we possess.
Yeah. One player I did feel for, we can't not mention Sarks. Sarcevic, we take Bolton's captain, which is a ridiculous story in itself, really.
Yeah.
I love that we've just gone and done that. But I was looking at some of the comments, the tweets, the replies on Twitter when, the squad's announced and he's, these things happen. As you say yourself, players all of a sudden, doesn't matter what your stature is, whether you're the big boy at the club or whether you're struggling to get in the, in the starting squad. When a new gaffer comes in, everybody raises the game. So you can imagine those training sessions being a little bit more intense, whatever. It's completely believable that he's taken a knock, and given the player that he is, one little knock, you think, right, rest it. Especially if it's a cup game, rest it. Don't. But it lets fans jump on the narrative that, he's bottled it in front of going back to his, in front of stepping out in front of Bolton. I bet you a penny to a pound, there would have been no player more desperate to get out on that just to be there. That's his day. That's his occasion. Yeah. I did feel a little bit for him when I was reading those replies. And I thought, especially, to be honest, they were all Bolton replies, not replies. They had their moment of giving him some, he's bottled it, he don't fancy it. He'll have fancied it more than any of those other players. You can guarantee it.
Yeah, of course. He's a mate of mine, Anthony. I've known him years. Used to play against him at Crew. Know him on a personal level. And he's getting one thing. He's got his character. He will have wanted to play tenfold, and he will have wanted to play well as well. So I mean, you're always going to get that, and no surprise. I've not seen that personally, but no surprise. He's come from the Bolton end. It's not going to come from our fans. It suits them to say that. No, he's left and come to us. So. One of them things, you've got to be professional and pay no attention.
I must admit, I didn't want to be professional. I wanted to stir the pot a little bit on Twitter. But, I can't do that. I can't do that.
Get your wand out, yeah.
Too much association, too much association. But, So we look at Bolton returning then, and what do you think? What do you think the gaffer does in that game? Do you think he tries to rekindle the spark that he would have had last week, or do you think this is his opportunity to say, now let's kind of let's not go out all out attack? Because one thing that we did well, which let's be honest, County have not done traditionally well, pretty much since I've been supporting them. Obviously, there are exceptions, and usually those exceptions have come in the cup. But playing in front of big crowds and TV cameras, more often than not, hasn't brought the best out of County. You know, we've sort of shied away in many ways. Quite often it's been a 0-0 or a dull 1-0 loss or whatever when we expected so much. Given that might be in the gaffer's mind, and he says, look, let's not embarrass ourselves at home. We have to remember, show some respect to Bolton. You know, they are higher level opposition. There's going to be, somewhere between 7,000 and 10,000 fans in the ground, and we're going to be on TV. Let's really put in a good fight. Or do you think he says, let's recreate what we had at the Reebok, go all out attack, hell for leather, and if we lose, we'll lose, but at least. Did I lose you then?
I lost you there, mate. Yeah.
But basically, the question is, when you're under the lights, when you're under the TV camera, do you go hell for leather, swinging as we did last week, and go in for a penny, in for a pound, or do we take a different approach, lock up, and in front of all the fans and the TV cameras, go for the 1-0, go for the don't concede?
Well, I think you have to consider what sort of reaction we're going to get from Bolton. I think Bolton are going to come here and try to put us in our place. If I was pep talking Bolton, I'd be saying, look, win this game in the first half, 2-3-0, and put it to bed. Let's get on with the league in the next round. Yeah. We have to consider that, and I think given what the gaffer's already said about being hard to beat, I think the approach, whether it will or won't, I'm right or wrong, I think the approach might be to not be negative, but at the same time be cautious, nice and solid to begin with, make sure we're on an even keel, and we can start to press. We already know how strong we can be going against the Cheadle end, and we've done it now for the last couple of years in an empty stadium, going against the Cheadle end with a full Cheadle end. Our back us against anyone. So if we can stay in the game, and I don't mean that negative in any way, shape or form, but if we can stay in the game, take the game to them, keep it at 0-0 and try and nick the first goal, who's to say we can't go on to be confident and get a second or a third? It's an even game for me. It's a 50-50.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. What does this do to County in the league? Does it give you a boost when you're playing cup games and against bigger teams and you're getting results and having great days out like we did at the weekend, or does that distract you and it's hard? Do you have a bit of a hangover?
It can be a reality check as well. You've just spoke there about the extra 5 and 10%. People do lift their game in bigger matches, especially when you draw a Premier League club. Talk about the West Ham back in the day and the Watfords. You draw one of those clubs, you lift your game. Everyone lifts the game. It's on telly. Everyone's watching. Next the weekend, you're back down to earth. You've been beat 3-0 or 4-1 because you've been woke up. This is football, league football. So it can have both effects. I think it has a positive effect in the sense that we've just mixed it with Bolton. Not only mixed it, we've beat them, we've knocked them out. It can also have a negative effect if we're still in the clouds. We're still living this. We're buzzing off this win. We're living it up, and bang, we've been brought back down to earth. So I think all roads lead back to being professional. The lads are professionals. They're paid. They're paid well to do their job, and that's what it is. Game at a time.
Yeah. Well, listen, we'll only do a short one tonight because I can't take my focus off Bolton. It would be unfair for me to even try and pull off that I've done research on the league game.
But Bolton aside, we've got. Look at the fixtures. We've got winnable games in the next 4 or 5.
True.
There's absolutely no reason why we can't pick up 4 wins out of 5 and a draw, or even better. There's no reason whatsoever. And what a way to kickstart the season.
Do you think that played into the decision of bringing the new manager in, of letting the old manager go and bringing the new manager in, looking at the run of fixtures and saying, look, he can go out and get 4 or 5 wins there. If Simon Rusk gets through 4 or 5 wins, it's sort of papering over a crack. Whereas if a new manager comes in, he looks a lot better because he's just got 4 out of 5 wins. Do you think that plays into the decision?
I suppose that's a question for the board. Whether they'd answer you directly or straight, I don't know. But
I don't think any board would. But
no,
yeah.
no, I don't either. But this is a business at the end of the day. Now, it is. It's definitely a talking point. I think it happened with Man United a few seasons ago. I can't remember whether it was Mourinho or Van Gaal, but one of them was sacked and the next one came in and with what appeared to be eight winnable games. A really nice, cush set of fixtures. Now, as we know in football, no games are dead cert, no games nailed on, but you get the picture. I'm going to say no, because for your first game to be Bolton away in the FA Cup, we could have quite easily gone there and got 5-0 or 4-0, and nobody had thought any less of him or us. So true. I'll probably say no. Going forward now, these aren't easy games, but they are games we should win. The next 3 or 4, 5 if you count Bolton. So you could look at it. Again, it's a question for the board.
Can I just ask you, because you mentioned Man United there, and usually if anyone mentions Man United or Man City on this show, we kind of go like this.
Like that, yeah.
No, I know you've got a bit of a spot, and they're in somewhat of a predicament manager-wise at the moment, because not unlike ourselves, in the not too distant past, there's a club legend at the helm.
Yeah,
different set of circumstances there. Jim was never under pressure, I didn't think, from a results perspective. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, on the other hand, has won the biggest, grandest of all trophies for Man United in dramatic fashion. Yeah. And as much as I'm not a Man United fan and don't have any time for them, I respect what he's done as a player tenfold. It's an unbelievable achievement. But I look at that situation, I think I would not fancy being a board member over at that camp at the moment. Should they get rid? Have they got to get rid?
I mean, just touching on what you said about Jim before I answer that, I think we had a spell with pressure. When I went back there on loan from Hull, we lost a fair few games on the spin, and we managed to turn it around. But I remember playing at York away. We were 1-0 up till the 90th minute and lost 2-1. And you think you're gonna get a roasting when you come in, and all he could say to us, and he's under pressure himself, all he could say was, "I feel sorry for you lads, you were magnificent, all you." Sometimes the rub of the green doesn't go for you. Now, if you look at Ollie, I mean, he's a club legend. He's done great things in his playing career. He's done well as a manager, but a lot of fans are calling for his head. Football's fickle, especially Premier League football, where they've got money to pay people off millions. The Man United v Spurs game, it was basically before the game which manager's going to get sacked. It was horrendous. It's shocking.
Yeah, that is an awful, awful way of looking at it as well.
It's shocking, because that's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
And then the Villa manager goes. They're talking about who's going to come in. You've got Steve Bruce, who's just gone because they want to go in another direction with all the money. It's sad. It's sad to see, because if a player's not playing for you, what can you do? But getting back to the Ollie thing, does he go? Does he not? I don't know. We have to look at the fixtures. I think we had Liverpool, City, and Tottenham in 4 games. I think might not be the fairest time to decide that. Having said that, he spent money. So, is there an excuse?
You see this, and that's where I make it relatable back to county. If you forget the previous status, if you like, of what you did as a player, nobody is taking anything away from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as a player. What he did was fantastic. If you compare it to county, Simon Rusk had spent money. He had you could almost, I guess, if you wanted to kind of push the agenda, you could say he had a non-league version of Galacticos. We don't have Bruno Fernandes and Cristiano Ronaldo and Edison Cavani and Jadon Sancho and all these other players, but we do have, a hell of a squad there. the likes of Fish and Barkley coming in from higher levels, and all the way through the squad. Sark's then coming in. I know he didn't really have anything to sign him, but you get my point. We've got all these higher caliber players. You spend money, and at the end of the day, results are not coming in. We're not sitting in that top 1, 2, even 3 spaces in the league.
Not yet.
No, but this is what I'm comparing it to at United. So I think on that basis, are we looking? I mean, it amazes me that they've let Pochettino and Antonio Conte slip through their fingers in recent years when they seemingly had them both.
Yeah.
In a time where they were out of a job and looking for work and probably would have snapped their hand off. But
I know.
Yeah, interesting. Not our business. I know. But it is football. As a football fan, you can't not be intrigued by a managerial position under scrutiny at Man United. You just can't.
Not at all. I mean, I being from Salford, I grew up being a Man United fan. I'm more of a football fan these days, and I'm a football fan and a Stockport County fan because that's who I played most of my career for. Having said that, I'm going to pay attention to any and all football and Sky Sports News and everything that's going on. And I think from the outside looking in, they should be given a little bit more time. But from their point of view, investors have put money into the club. How much time they're going to give them? So it's anyone's guess. Anyone's guess. I think getting back to Ollie, judge him over the next few games and see what happens. If he doesn't pick up, then he hasn't really got an argument anymore.
If he has the next few games.
If he gets through, yeah. Well, it's a game at a time at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. I think Gary Neville said something that I think he stole off me. I say on the radio quite a lot. Is sometimes it's not about the actual result. It's about how you get the result. I mean, look at Norwich, for example. Yeah. They stood by their manager for a long, long time because they believed in him. And even though they were getting beat, the football they were playing was good, the style was good, etc., etc. If you're getting beat and it's turgid, horrible, crappy football, then you're on thin ice. But if you're attacking, doing really well, and you've got a lot of young players that you're bringing through, there's a project you can believe in, and you maybe get a bit more breathing space. But
and that's the same with the United Liverpool game. It's the fashion they got 5-0. It's not the 5-0. It's the fashion. They didn't get absolutely blown over by top quality play. All right, it just so happens Salah's finishing is on point. Some of those chances were half chances, and he made them look like open nets. But we were just carved open, just all over the place. Not playing as a unit. Big gaps between fullback and centre half. People out of position. Half-hearted tackles. So that's why they're getting absolutely caned at the moment. If teams are carving through you because just sheer quality, you can almost forgive that. A bit like the Bolton goal, the equaliser, brilliant equaliser, wonderful football that you can't really do much about. You hold your hands up with that. But when it's a mistake or it's multiple mistakes, people are going to ask questions.
Yeah, no, of course. All right, mate. Well, listen, I'm going to wrap it there.
Okay.
It's a pleasure as always.
Pleasure, mate.
We should tease. We should do a little bit of a why you should come back next week. We've got a couple of really good names joining us in the next couple of weeks. So things to look forward to there. Things to look forward to as always. But listen, Matty, the main man was here tonight. The main Matty Mainwaring. So let's catch up next week and hopefully. Well, I say by this time next week, it's not podcast Thursdays, it's podcast Wednesdays. Hopefully by next podcast Thursday, we're talking about how we've just beat Bolton at home.
Absolutely. I've got every faith in us. We've nothing to lose, and let's have it right. It's a 50-50 match. It's not a throw the kitchen sink out and see what happens. It's a 50-50 game. Let's do it.
Bite down on the gum shield and go again. Matty Mainwaring, top man. See you next week, mate.
Cheers, Chris.